This week, running for governor. A second Democrat ready to join the campaign for the 2016 race. What will Tom Sugar's candidacy mean for Democrats? Hillary's email apology. Is it enough to salvage her campaign for president? Or is it too little, too late? And he's the new person in charge at Angie's List. So what changes may be coming to one of Indianapolis's largest employers?
From RTV6, the Indy Channel, this is Indianapolis This Week with Rafael Sanchez.
Thank you for joining us for Indianapolis This Week. You can join us right now on our Twitter account at Indy This Week. We'd love for you to join in our conversation. We start with a shakeup in the race for governor. Democrat Tom Sugar all but certain to enter that race after tweeting this on Wednesday, saying, "I've made my decision, stay tuned." Hard to imagine making that tweet and not running. Now more from our Katie Hines.
Sugar is a Democrat and former chief of staff to Evan Bayh. He currently leads the nonprofit organization Lead or Leave that's pushing for redistricting reform. Now, he tells me that he did make his decision on whether to run for governor over Labor Day weekend, but that he was in Houston on a business trip through Friday and said that he wanted to fulfill all prior obligations before making that decision public. And we had talked to Sugar about his political ambitions last month. He had told us at that time that his priority was speaking with his family, also finding a job that would allow him to run for governor at the same time.
I know what we have to be talking about. I know the reform that is essential to make our government work, and I will use everything in my power to make sure people can hear it. If I can figure out a way to take care of my family, I'm in. If
he jumps into the race, Sugar will face former gubernatorial candidate and Indiana House Speaker John Gregg in the primary. Rafael.
We welcome in our political insiders, a former Indy Star political reporter, Mary Beth Schneider. Welcome, Republican Pete Seat, and Democrat Adam Kirsch. What will this mean for this campaign if, in fact, well, we know that he's going to run, so what does it mean?
It really remains to be seen, because I don't think very many people know who Tom Sugar is. He's not run for office before. He's very well known in inside political circles because he was Evan Bayh's right-hand man. We'll be waiting to see if Evan Bayh is going to put any of that vaunted campaign money that's been stashed away into Tom Sugar's pocket, and then we'll see.
John Gregg does not want a primary.
I think John Gregg is focused on beating Mike Pence, and I don't think John Gregg's campaign changes in any way. He's been raising money. He's been locking up endorsements of key Democratic constituencies from labor to party organizations, and I think he's going to keep being the front runner for this nomination.
The Republicans fear a primary among Democrats to sort of get the base all riled up and interested in this election process?
I'm one of those who thinks it's good for the Democrats, and I hope they have a primary. I think they need it. They have been killing their own.
You said because you want them to waste all their money?
No. I think that strategy is so simplistic, and I think that they need a good fight in their own party. They've been killing their own for years, and to Mary Beth's point, until 2 weeks ago, I had no idea who Tom Sugar was. I'd never heard of the guy. So to say that insiders even know who he is laughable, but I think in the end, if he gets in, it will be good, and I think John Gregg will be grateful for it in the end.
And Adam Kirsch, did you hear that Greg Ballard may be interested?
The rumors came out this week that Greg Ballard's reconsidering a primary challenge to Mike Pence, and I think that will be much more interesting to watch than the Democratic side.
For folks that may not know, of course, Greg Ballard being the mayor of Indianapolis.
Yes.
Is that possible? Do you think the mayor would be?
No mayor of Indianapolis has ever been elected governor, but Greg Ballard has been a different kind of office holder and candidate, and I think he probably could challenge Mike Pence, but boy, beating an incumbent governor of your own party, that's extremely hard.
I think we saw what Stephen Goldsmith was the last person. Was he
to run?
Yeah. I mean, mayors have had difficulty moving up the ladder in Indiana and every part of the state. Dick Lugar, of course, a very notable exception. But politics is a crazy business. We'll see what happens.
Let's talk on the national side. Hillary Clinton, she's on her email apology campaign, finally now saying to the electorate that she is sorry for what happened with her emails. Are people going to buy this? She's on all the talk shows now, trying to sort of recreate the image. Mary Beth, does she recreate the image?
You know, I think she's lucky that it's September and not January, right when Iowa and New Hampshire are getting ready to vote. The Justice Department has ruled now that there was no laws broken. But boy, it's just been a drip, 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 and she needs it over, and I know that's what she's hoping for here. We'll see.
She's all about reset buttons, right? She tried it with Russia, and now she's trying it for like the 8th time with her own campaign. I mean, earlier this week, her campaign said she's going to show more humor and more heart and be more spontaneous, as if that's something you can just flip a switch and do. But all of these problems are a creation of her own. She didn't have to create that private server with a private email to do government work. And she only has Hillary Clinton to look in the mirror and be upset at.
Is it time for Joe Biden to enter the race?
I don't know if it's time for Vice President Biden to enter the race. I think Secretary Clinton is doing what she needs to do. She quite frankly, the email was probably a mistake. I think she's admitted that much. She's apologized for it. But I think we need to move on with the issues facing the country.
I'll tell you, but it took her a long time to apologize. I mean, we're, what, 6 months into this, and she's finally apologizing for it?
It seemed very politically rusty, didn't it? I mean, it's just the kind of thing that they should have knocked off out of the bag, and to let it drag on all summer, just bad.
So let's talk about Pete's favorite person, that would be Donald Trump.
You know me well, Rafael.
Front-runner Donald Trump.
Front-runner Donald Trump, who made disparaging comments about one of the female, Carly Fiorina. Is there anything this man can say or not say? Because he has already, he's gone after veterans. He said everything about Latinos.
Everything about everybody. Yeah, the mouth that roared.
So, what is the staying power? I mean, Pete, I mean, is the GOP concerned about this, he being the nominee?
I've been thinking about this a lot, and there's something in our society about cheering for the villains. and here you have, he is the villain of this party right now. He's the guy that's attacking everyone. Quite frankly, his insults are lame, though. I mean, he called Ben Carson an okay doctor. I mean, it's just, come up with something more clever if you're going to insult people. And you heard Jeb Bush earlier in the week, too, say, you know, you can't insult your way to the nomination or to the presidency.
But he's doing a good job of it. I mean, he is insulting.
Well, but if that was the case, someone with better insults, I don't know, Triumph the Insult Comic Dog from Conan would be the nominee. Trump is gonna flame out eventually. I wish it was 3 weeks ago.
The GOP keeps saying that, but here we are. They called it the summer of Trump, but we're to the fall of Trump.
We're past Labor Day. He's demonstrated more staying power than I think anybody thought he would. Quite frankly, I think it's like the Seinfeld episode where George decides his instincts are wrong and he should do the opposite. I think the second Trump starts behaving like a traditional candidate is the second he starts to flame out. As long as he keeps doing what he's doing, I don't see how it stops.
But people thought that moment came when he signed the pledge to support whoever, and yet, you know, the next polls showed him still doing well. And women, I totally do not understand this. The latest poll shows him getting more support from women among his supporters than men, after he calls Carly Fiorina ugly, basically.
We'll see what happens. The conversation between our insiders continues on Twitter. Check out their Twitter handles and give us your opinion. And stay up to date with Mary Beth, Pete, Adam, and the entire gang. And of course, while you're there, follow our political official Twitter account at Indy This Week for news and updates every day of the week. Coming up, setting the new course for Angie's List, a Sunday morning exclusive with the person taking over as CEO of one of Central Indiana's largest employers. That coming up next on Indianapolis This Week, right here on RTV6. Week, one of Central Indiana's largest employers and most recognizable businesses has a new leader. Angie's List naming Scott Derschlag its new president and CEO. He comes to the company from Best Buy, where he headed the tech retail giant's e-commerce division. So what's in store for Angie's List? Our Jason Fechner has this exclusive interview.
We're joined this morning by Angie's List new CEO, Scott Derschlag. Scott, welcome to Indianapolis.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Well, why Angie's List?
Why Angie's List? Because I think Angie's List is in a leading position on the final frontier of e-commerce.
Successful businesses often breed a whole lot of competition, and a lot of competition that continues to grow in this market. How does Angie's List set itself apart from companies like Google and Amazon right now?
It has some advantages that Google and Amazon would dearly love to have, right? Number one, the Angie's List brand is absolutely phenomenal and is completely identified with local services. And, you know, 20 years of investment in building that brand is not something anybody can just copy overnight. And the final piece of it, sorry, I know this is a long answer, but I've thought a lot about this, as you can imagine. It's got a proven value proposition, the only one out there that has a proven paid value proposition. And the paid, you know, piece matters because it's selecting people that are really using the service and are, you know, at the high end of the market, which is something really attractive to the service providers. So 3 million members, 1.3 million service providers, together doing $10 to $15 billion of transactions between them. That is an enviable position for anybody.
What does this company have to do to continue to grow?
Well, as I think about it, I look at it as Internet 1.0 was all about information and content. Internet 2.0 was all about e-commerce and transactions. Internet 3.0 is about relationships. That's the social and the mobile internet. Where are we at today, and where does Angie's List need to be to win across this huge market? It's Internet 4.0, which is the power of place. That is all about local services and really being able to personalize and delight the experience for consumers where, when, and how they want to be able to pick the best service provider or be able to ensure that their problems are just fixed as easily and seamlessly as possible. And there's a lot Angie's List can do there to take it to the next level.
What's the potential for this company? How far can you take it?
Well, I don't have a crystal ball, and it is my first day, so I think it would be a bit presumptuous for me to give a precise answer to that question.
You got it all nailed down right out of the gate.
But obviously, I wouldn't have come here if I wasn't very optimistic about it, right? I'm betting my career on it, and you know, I think it is a safe bet because of those assets that I described, and because of the much bigger forces at work out there that are shaping, you know, where and how people want to take care of, you know, their homes and be able to consume local services.
And the one thing you're most looking forward to as you take over as CEO?
The one thing that I am most looking forward to, barbecue, to spend time with employees and really get to know them, because you know, talent is the most important thing when you're talking about really being able to innovate in spaces like this. And I have a lot to learn. I have a lot of people to meet. And I'm looking forward to it. That's fun for me.
I know that employees often look forward to barbecues, and I'm sure they'll look forward to meeting you as well. Scott, thanks so much for taking the time.
Thank you.
Rafael?
Thank you so much. Coming up, a monumental announcement for the Monumental Marathon. We're breaking news on the future of the race next. You're watching Indianapolis This Week. Welcome back to Indianapolis This Week. Joining us now is Blake Bolden with Monumental Marathon. And coming tomorrow, you're about to make some big news in Indianapolis.
Yeah, well, tomorrow we have a board of directors meeting. So the brain trust that is our organization has a very important meeting. And I think we'll have a very exciting announcement coming after that meeting. And I remember last year in our interview, the Sunday before the marathon, you asked me a very pointed question. Will we ever be like the Boston Marathon? Is that our goal? And when we look at events like the Boston Marathon, the New York City Marathon, Chicago, well, Chicago only has one marathon, New York has one, Boston has one, and I think by the end of the week we're going to have some exciting news to help us elevate toward that goal.
And these marathons, how do they bring identity to those individual cities, right? Because when we think of Boston and New York, they're big, they're epic,
yeah,
they're iconic. Is that the future?
We sure hope so. And I think part of this becomes, I mean, the first step is becoming something that the whole city owns. And so when we talk about a marathon, it's different than a 5K or a 10K or even a half marathon, because since 1896 in the modern Olympics, the marathon has stood as the ultimate test of human endurance. I mean, remembering that in ancient Greece, Phidippides, the first ever marathoner.
A history lesson.
Yes, he came famously delivering a victory of a Greek victory from Marathon, Greece, to Athens, and upon delivering the message, died on the site. So then became the marathon as the test of human endurance, and we brought that to downtown Indy. So it's like climbing Mount Everest, but you don't have to get on a plane. And so we need that whole community to own it and have that same pride.
So let's go from history to economics, because also marathons in some ways are an economic development engine. People want to be in a city that embraces health, right?
That's right.
I mean, that is also vibrant. You need these kinds of events.
Yes, I mean, really and truly and sincerely, people work because of our event. I mean, every year we know this is not an inflated economic impact study done by a professor at a university. These are real numbers from Visit Indy that we know on a conservative estimate that it's at least a $3 million economic impact just on the 2 or 3 days of our event every year. And with our partners at Visit Indy, Downtown Indy, and the whole community, our aim is to grow that. So more people work in restaurants, more people work work in hotels, and the whole tourism economy booms as a result of our event and many others.
There's also the issue of healthy living. We are dealing with a population really of young folks and people our age.
That's right.
Dealing with obesity, and so this event allows people to sort of embrace health.
You got it.
At different levels.
That's right.
Not everyone has to run that marathon. The different levels that people can do.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, I think our community is becoming increasingly aware of the health issues we face. I mean, the American College of Sports Medicine, based here in Indy, they recently ranked the 50 largest cities in the country. Indy was the 50th healthiest, so meaning the most unhealthy of the largest 50 cities in the country, and we certainly aim to improve that by getting people active with their first 5K, half marathon, marathon. We've got a youth kids running program called Monumental Kids Movement that's in 31 schools throughout the city right now, serving 2,000 kids. So we're really working not only to boost our economy, become a national destination for runners and walkers around the world, really, but we're looking on a grassroots level to get people active and have fun with it and realize that running is not a punishment when you drop a fly ball in another sport. You know, not sent to go run laps. It's something you can do fun for the duration of your life to be healthy.
And this year's race is when?
Saturday, November 7th. So we've got some big announcements, not just this week, but as we get closer, some tremendous elite runners coming, some amazing, you know, that hashtag we always use is hashtag #BeMonumental. And whether you're aiming for the win or just trying to walk across the finish line for your first 5K, you got a chance to come be monumental in November.
Well, we are expecting some monumental news tomorrow from you, so I'll be calling you tomorrow to get the scoop, to get the full details of what's going to happen tomorrow.
Yeah, that meeting's 5:30 tomorrow night.
So at 5:35.
Well, thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
Appreciate your time.
No, likewise.
We'll be right back right after this. Now joining us on the program is the Commissioner for the Department of Revenue here for the state of Indiana, Andrew Kosak. Welcome to the program. Tax amnesty begins next week in Indiana. What does that mean?
Thanks for having me, Rafael. What it really is a limited time opportunity for taxpayers to participate in a program that allows them to pay back taxes without the burden of penalties, interest, and collection fees. And that can be a significant sum for someone who owes maybe $500 for a liability. The penalties, collection fees, and interest could easily approach $500. So
for example, if I owed the state $100 from many years ago, there would have been penalties and fees that would be attached to that. You're going to waive that, and I'm only have to pay the principal.
Exactly.
You're going to wipe out the rest.
Exactly.
The last time you did this was in 2005. So why now? And in 2005, when you did it, you saw a large amount of millions of dollars came into the state. Is that the hope this time again?
We certainly hope to generate a good amount of funding through this, and there are two destinations for that funding. One is the Regional Cities program. We hope to generate $84 million for that program.
And what does that program do?
That's an economic development initiative administered through the Indiana Economic Development Corporation. It encourages regions around the state to think regionally about economic development, how to generate investment, how to attract talent to their regions. And IndianaRegionalCities.com could tell you a lot more about that.
If I am deciding to step forward on this amnesty, should I fear at all any other kind of prosecution or any other kind of liability? Because when I hear amnesty, that means I have to come out of the shadows. I have to say I did something wrong or I haven't been following the rules. What will be is there a penalty beyond just paying my taxes?
It's a great question. No, part of the deal is that taxpayers who come forward will not be civilly or criminally prosecuted. So that's part of the program. We want them to feel safe to come to us and work with them to resolve these tax liabilities, get them off the record, get the records clean, allow them to move forward.
And who is eligible and who is not eligible?
Well, those who are not eligible is anyone who participated in the 2005 amnesty. Anyone who's eligible should get a letter from us. There are about 260,000 plus taxpayers who will receive a letter. Those who think they may be eligible who have not received a letter, we'd encourage them to contact us. Our phone number is there, 1-844-TAXES-IN. We also have a dedicated website, taxamnesty.in.gov, and they could visit one of our 12 district offices as well.
And so these are the posters that are going up statewide. So if you are out and about, you will see this campaign called the Road to recovery that you could become involved in, there are hundreds of thousands of people that currently owe the state taxes. Right? I mean, this is not just one or two people. You're looking at a lot of people.
There are. Yes, and for the most part, collection efforts have been exhausted against these taxpayers. So we really view this as an opportunity to give them another chance, particularly for those old liabilities that have gained a lot of interest to where they haven't been able to pay in the past. This is a new opportunity. We can work with them on payment plans. We can work with them on identifying other sources of funding that maybe they haven't thought about, and really give them an opportunity to, like I said, clean up their record and move forward without that burden.
Commissioner, for those who say, so what? Thank you for the amnesty. I don't care. I'm not going to pay. Then what happens to them? Because there are a majority of Hoosiers do pay their taxes, whether they're individual taxpayers or business taxpayers, right? So for those that say, I don't care what you have to say, I'm not going to take advantage of this amnesty whatsoever, is there an accountability process for those who don't pay attention to this?
Certainly. It is an optional program, so it is up to taxpayers whether it makes sense for them to participate or not. The downside to declining to participate if you are eligible is that the penalty, which is 10% on your tax liability, will be doubled after the amnesty period, and that was the same deal that we had in 2005 for those taxpayers.
Commissioner, thank you so much. All the best as amnesty begins this week in Indiana.
Thank you, Rafael.
Back to the program. We appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. It begins on Tuesday. You have a great Sunday. Go Colts, and we'll see you next week for Indianapolis.